Galaxy Fold 2, Z Fold2, is a lot of these changes are learned directly from the Fold 1. So the box, of course, here is a little bit cooler, if I do say so myself, but as you get into it, you'll notice it doesn't come with quite the same array of accessories. Like the top thing here is paperwork, and that's kind of it. So you get the phone, of course, and then there's just a fast charger included, which of course you would expect for the $2,000 that this phone will cost again this year. But this time there's no case, there is no headphones, and there's nothing else that really feels special about the stuff that comes with it, which to me honestly is a little bit of a bummer. Like, I thought there was no question this phone would come with all that extra stuff. And then a note about the screen on the front display is cool to remove yourself, and they said that was fine. I did that, easy, just like any other screen protector. But they recommend someone officially from Samsung. Of course, like I said, the specs are updated too, but we've seen those already. Snapdragon 865 Plus, 12 gigs of RAM, 4,500 milliamp hour dual battery, and the design I think feels more refined. You can see it's boxier, it's a little weightier, and I'm such a big fan of the satin finish, it's not even funny. It's still Mystic Bronze, you can also get Mystic Black, but it's really in the big areas where you see not just hardware improvement, but real potentially big usability improvement too. So let's start with the screens. This one's pretty simple. Both the cover screen and the main screen got big upgrades. The cover screen is now full size, so it goes from like that little 4.6-inch display with huge bezels that was, I think, easily the worst looking part of the first Fold, to a genuine corner-to-corner, full-size 6.2-inch display. It's still really narrow, but I feel like this alone is going to change the way I use the Fold. The tiny cover screen before was actually pretty limiting, and I didn't want to use the phone closed as much, but now that changes a bit. I feel like the full-size smartphone type of size on the outside will change the behavior before you even open the thing. But then on the inside, once you do open it up, there is your second big screen change. The bezels inside are a little thinner. It's now a 7.6-inch square display versus 7.3. But I think more importantly, the huge corner cutout from last year is gone for just a single 10 megapixel hole punch selfie camera. And I'll talk more about why that makes a lot more sense in the camera section, but the bottom line is that ends up giving you a noticeably more impressive, huge canvas of a screen. Like, this is what I was hoping for when I was dreaming of improvements for folding phones. It's impressive. And this main screen is also now bumped up to, yes, high refresh rate, 120 Hz. It's actually adaptive refresh rate, so it can modulate anywhere from 11 to 120 Hz depending on what's happening on the screen. But yeah, this is one of those things, again, that I mentioned even last year with the Fold 1 of improvements I'd like them to make, and we have it here now. Now, one of the things I was wondering about is the crease, since it's now using the same ultra-thin glass on the Z Flip, and I'm seeing the crease still. It's not like it's going to disappear after one generation. You run your finger over it a little bit and you can still feel it like the Z Flip, but again, just like those other phones, it's not quite as big of a problem if you're just looking at the content and not looking for the crease. This is now the second version of their zero gap hinge. It looks pretty similar to the first one. Conceptually, it's still the same with their hinge and the back plate, but this year Samsung will actually let you customize the back plate color between a couple, I think it's 4 different colors, which is super cool if you're willing to wait a couple extra weeks for the customization to come through. But now this new hinge will allow for freestand anywhere from 75 to 115 degrees, meaning it can basically stay put in almost any reasonable angle you want. And then there's a bunch of software features built around this new hinge that I'm going to be testing for the full review. It's still called Flex Mode, and there's a slowly growing list of apps that will recognize when the hinge is folded halfway, and then it'll treat the app like a mini laptop basically. If you're watching a YouTube video, for example, and half close it, it'll put the video in the upper half. Or if you're in Calendar or Gallery, they also have special layouts in Flex Mode. And even the camera has a special mode for when it's half folded. So clearly they see people using it half folded a lot more because of the hinge's ability to do it. Makes sense. And speaking of cameras, that's the last big piece here for the Fold 2. So it's the triple cameras on the back, like I mentioned, in that Mesa, that squared off camera bump like the Note, main camera, telephoto, and ultra wide. Then on the inside, like I said earlier, just a single 10 megapixel selfie camera. And on the front cover display, again, a 10 megapixel selfie hole punch camera. So you can take photos and videos like normal with that huge viewfinder. That part's still great. But now, instead of having that huge cutout for better selfie cameras, if you really want to take a good selfie, you can just do rear camera selfies and it'll turn on that bigger cover display and let you use it as a viewfinder. That's really smart. I believe this will also be coming to the first Galaxy Fold, but now that's just so much better of a way to take selfies with a high quality camera. And there's also now dual preview mode, which turns on the back camera so you can show the subject of the photo and the framing. There's just a bunch of other software stuff being built into One UI that will also come to the old Fold, but it works that much better because of the bigger cover display and the improved hardware here.